What if waiting to feel ready is the very reason you're stuck? Every day, people sit on the edge of their potential, staring at it like it's some distant shore they'll reach when the time is right, when they're more confident, more motivated, more in the mood. But here's the truth that most don't want to face: the time will never feel right. Motivation is not a fire that burns forever. It flickers, it fades. And if you build your life around waiting for it, you'll spend your days watching others pass you by, while you stay exactly where you are, full of dreams but paralyzed by hesitation. We've been lied to. Somewhere along the way, we were told that success starts with feeling inspired, that you need to be pumped up, excited, emotionally charged before you can act. But the people who rise to the top, they know something different. They've learned that feelings are unreliable, that if you let your emotions make your decisions, you'll be guided by fear, distraction, and comfort. Discipline is what separates the average from the exceptional. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it demands that you show up anyway. Think about that for a moment. Imagine what your life would look like if you did the hard things even when you didn't feel like it. Imagine the goals you'd crush, the skills you'd master, the confidence you'd build, not because you waited for motivation to show up, but because you moved forward without it. That's the difference between those who dream and those who do. One waits for inspiration, the other creates it through action. Discipline is uncomfortable. It's waking up when you'd rather sleep. It's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's pushing through the fog, the fatigue, the fear. But there's something deeper under the surface. There's something powerful in knowing you can rely on yourself, that no matter what life throws your way, you will still get it done. That's not just a habit, it's strength, it's self-respect, and it's rare. Because let's be honest, comfort is easy, it's addictive. It whispers to you, you deserve a break, you can do it later, just this once. But later becomes never, and just once becomes every time. That's how potential dies, one excuse at a time. Not with a loud bang, but with quiet, comfortable choices that slowly kill your progress. You don't rise by doing what's easy. You rise by doing what's necessary. And sometimes, what's necessary is the last thing you feel like doing. That's the battle you face every day. The war between who you are now and who you know you could be. And the only bridge between those two versions of you is discipline. Most people won't tell you this, but success isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's not even about intelligence. It's about doing the work, consistently, relentlessly, especially when no one's watching, especially when no one's clapping. That's what builds real power. That's what builds a mindset that can't be broken. And here's what makes it worth it. When you choose discipline, you unlock something most people never will: freedom. Freedom from the chaos of inconsistency, freedom from guilt, freedom from regret. You stop living at the mercy of your moods and you start living by design. You don't chase success. You become the kind of person who attracts it. If you've ever felt like you're capable of more but something's holding you back, this is it. This is the line in the sand. This is the moment where you stop depending on how you feel and start deciding based on who you want to become. Because your future doesn't respond to your feelings. It responds to your choices. And discipline, day by day, rep by rep, is the choice that builds everything else. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel ready. You'll be waiting forever. Start where you are. Use what you have. Push when it's hard. Show up when it's boring, keep going when it's quiet, and watch who you become. Because when everything else fades, when motivation dies out and excitement wears off, discipline remains. And with it, you become unstoppable. When you begin to act without waiting, when you stop negotiating with your feelings, something inside you shifts. You start to realize that discipline isn't just about forcing yourself through discomfort. It's about learning how to lead yourself. It's the most powerful form of self-respect. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you do the hard thing you said you would, you prove to yourself that your word matters, that you matter, that your goals matter. And that's where real power begins. Not in the big wins, but in the quiet moments when no one's watching and you still choose to rise. Discipline isn't some extreme life where everything is sacrificed and joy disappears. It's the opposite. Discipline is structure, and structure creates space. It builds a foundation strong enough to carry your dreams. It gives you peace, because you're no longer being pulled in every direction by distraction or chaos. You've drawn a line. You've taken control. And control over self is the highest form of freedom. We live in a world where impulses dominate, where everything is built to grab your attention, to feed your cravings, to make you choose the path of least resistance. But that path leads nowhere. It's a loop, pleasure without progress, motion without meaning. You scroll, you snack, you sleep in, and you wonder why you feel empty. It's because your soul knows you're built for more. It knows you were meant to create, not consume, to build, not drift. And the only way to rise above that noise is discipline. Self-control is not restriction, it's refinement. It's you choosing what matters most over what you want now. And yes, that choice hurts. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But so is staying stuck. So is regret. So is waking up 10 years from now and realizing you became everything you feared simply because you couldn't say no to what was easy. This is about reclaiming your power, about no longer handing it over to moods, urges, or temptations. You are not a passenger in your own life. You are the driver. And that wheel, that direction, it turns when you choose discipline over impulse. Every time you resist the easy option, your identity shifts. You're not just acting disciplined, you're becoming disciplined. You're not just building habits, you're becoming someone who finishes, someone who shows up, someone who wins. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because it's right. And that shift, when discipline becomes who you are instead of what you're forcing, that's when everything changes. Your decisions become faster. Your confidence grows stronger. Your mind becomes quieter. You're no longer at war with yourself every morning, trying to summon motivation. You move with clarity, not chaos. With purpose, not pressure. That's the reward most people never taste. Not just the external success, but the internal strength. The quiet pride of knowing that you did the work, that you earned your peace. That your life wasn't built by chance, but by choice, one intentional day at a time. And no, it's not about perfection. You will slip. You will fall. But discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands return. It asks, will you come back stronger? And every time you do, every time you fight to stay on the path, you chip away at the old version of you, the one ruled by excuses, the one defined by feelings, and you step into the person you were always meant to become. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you followed through every single time? If you showed up not just when it was convenient, but when it was critical? What would your body look like? Your business, your mindset, your relationships? The truth is, all of it is shaped by your ability to say, I will do it, no matter how I feel. That's not just strength, that's leadership. And before you can lead others, you must lead yourself. So start small, wake up on time, finish what you start, stick to your word. These are not minor wins, they are monuments. They are signals to your brain that you are capable, that you are in charge, that you are someone who does what they say they'll do. And once your mind believes that, the limits start to fall away. The fear gets quieter, the vision gets clearer, because now you're not just dreaming, you're executing. This is how you rise, not through inspiration, but through intention. Not through hype, but through habit. You don't need to feel good to take action. You need to take action to start feeling good, to start building a life that reflects your highest standard, not your lowest mood. And if that standard matters to you, if your potential means something to you, then discipline isn't optional. It's the foundation. It's the gateway. It's the silent force that turns invisible effort into visible success. You are not weak for struggling with it. You are human, but you are stronger than the urge to quit. You are stronger than your excuses. And with discipline as your weapon, there is nothing that can stop you from becoming everything you were born to be. Keep showing up. Keep choosing the hard path. Keep becoming unshakable. Because when the dust settles and the feelings fade and the noise dies down, what will carry you through is the fire you built within. And that fire is called discipline. Discipline is the fire, but it's the small sparks that keep it alive. It's easy to get overwhelmed by how far you want to go. You see the mountain and think you need to climb it all in one day. You look at the vision, the dream, the outcome, and it feels distant, so big that you freeze, so heavy that you hesitate. But the truth is, greatness isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in quiet repetitions, in tiny, almost invisible victories that no one sees. But you feel them. You know when you choose the right thing over the easy one. You know when you do what you said you would. That's how self-trust is born. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. The world praises the grand moments, the explosive success stories. But behind every one of those is someone who woke up early when it didn't matter, who practiced in silence, who kept showing up long before they got results. They didn't rely on passion, they relied on discipline. They stacked small wins, and those wins compounded into something unstoppable. That's how you shift your identity. You don't just do the work, you become the kind of person who does the work. Every time you act in alignment with your goals, you cast a vote for the future you want. And the more votes you cast, the harder it becomes to believe anything else. You don't need permission, you need persistence. You don't need motivation, you need movement. Just one more rep, one more step, one more decision that says I don't quit. The reason this matters is because your brain is always watching, always recording. When you break your word to yourself, it notices. When you scroll instead of start, it notices. When you snooze instead of rise, it notices. And slowly belief erodes, doubt creeps in. But when you show up, even in small ways, your mind starts to believe in you again. That belief becomes momentum. That momentum becomes power. Stop chasing perfection. That will kill you. It's the perfect plan that never starts. It's the perfect schedule that collapses under real life. What matters is that you move, that you act, that you do the small thing now instead of waiting for the big thing later. Progress is the most addictive feeling in the world. Once you feel it, you never want to stop. And the only way to feel it is to earn it. That's what most people miss. They want confidence without commitment, results without repetition. But confidence comes from evidence, your evidence. You need to see yourself showing up. You need to feel yourself growing stronger. You can't fake that. You have to build it moment by moment, brick by brick. That's how discipline transforms you. It doesn't just shape your schedule, it reshapes your identity. And the more aligned your actions are with who you want to become, the more unstoppable you feel. Because now, it's not about forcing yourself anymore, it's about expressing yourself. The gym isn't a punishment, it's proof. The early morning isn't a burden, it's a badge. The hard choices don't feel heavy. They feel right. They feel aligned. Because you've decided that you're worth it, that your future is worth it. But it starts with one small win. Just one. Drink the water. Take the cold shower. Say no to the distraction. Turn off the noise. Open the book. Do the push-ups. Show yourself in real time that you are the kind of person who follows through. And once you do it once, do it again. Stack the days. Stack the proof. Build the foundation so solid that doubt doesn't stand a chance. And when it gets hard, and it will, don't negotiate. Don't open the door to excuses. Don't let the voice of weakness take the mic. You've heard it before. You've believed it before. And where did it get you? Nowhere. So this time, silence it with action. Drown it with effort. Replace it with discipline. Because that voice isn't truth. It's a test. And you have everything you need to pass it. You don't need a breakthrough. You need to keep going. You don't need a miracle. You need momentum. You need to prove to yourself over and over that you're in this for the long haul. That you're not chasing quick fixes. You're building a foundation. One that will still be standing when others quit. One that will carry you through storms, setbacks, and silence. Because it wasn't built on hype, it was built on discipline. That's how you win, quietly, daily, with intention. And one day you'll look up and realize you don't even recognize who you used to be. The doubt, gone. The hesitation, gone. What's left is someone who moves with purpose. Someone who leads with action. Someone who doesn't talk about potential, they live it. And it all started with one decision, to take one small step and never stop. But the moment you begin rising, the resistance begins rising too. It's not a mistake. It's not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's the clearest signal that you're stepping into something real. Because the moment you try to elevate your standards, the old version of you starts to panic. It clings. It whispers. It fights to stay alive. And that's when the inner war begins. Discipline isn't just about managing time or building habits. It's about battling yourself. It's about confronting the weaker voice inside you that says, slow down, skip today, it's too hard. That voice wants comfort. It wants safety. It wants things to stay the same. And you've listened to it for too long. But now you know the truth. That voice isn't protecting you. It's limiting you. You can't negotiate with it. You can't reason with it. You have to override it. Because if you listen to it today, you'll listen to it tomorrow. If you give it an inch, it will take your future. That voice doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about one thing, keeping you exactly where you are. And that's why this battle matters more than anything. The war within is the most important one you'll ever fight. Not because it's loud, but because it's constant. It's in the small moments, the pause before you hit snooze, the hesitation before you start the workout, the split second where you decide to give in or go all in. And in those moments, the future is shaped, not by what you say you want, but by what you choose when no one's watching. Most people quit not because they're weak, but because they weren't ready for this war. They thought discipline would be simple, that it would feel good, that the path would be straight. But discipline is painful. It stretches you. It exposes your excuses. It demands that you choose long-term strength over short-term relief. And that choice, it hurts, but it also frees you. Because every time you win that internal battle, something powerful happens. You gain back control. You take back your energy. You build mental armor. And that armor doesn't just protect you, it prepares you. For the hard days, for the storms, for the chaos that life throws without warning. Because life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't pause for your feelings. And when everything breaks around you, discipline is what holds the pieces together. That's what most people don't understand. Discipline isn't just for the easy times. It's the anchor in the storm. It's what keeps you moving when you lose the motivation, the praise, the support. Because there will be seasons where nothing feels like it's working. where progress is invisible, where no one believes in you. And in those moments, discipline is your proof that you believe in yourself enough to keep going. There is something sacred about keeping a promise to yourself when no one would know if you broke it. That's self-respect. That's power. That's the kind of strength that can't be faked and it can't be taken. It has to be earned. This is not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about showing up broken, showing up tired, showing up uncertain, but still showing up. It's about refusing to fold, even when your mind begs you to quit. And every time you choose to fight, every time you take another step, you send a message to yourself that says, I'm not done. I'm not done until I win. And the beauty of it? The more you win those battles, the quieter the resistance becomes. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. The doubts don't vanish, but they no longer decide. The fear doesn't disappear, but it no longer controls. You lead now, and that leadership starts with you. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Someone who backs down or someone who breaks through? Because that reflection doesn't lie. It's a reflection of your patterns, your choices, your discipline. And if you don't like what you see, good. That means you're awake. That means you're aware. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. So don't run from the resistance. Use it. Let it sharpen you. Let it remind you of what you're building. Every doubt is a chance to choose certainty. Every excuse is a moment to prove them wrong. And every failure is fuel, because you're still here, still standing, still fighting. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. You don't fold, you fortify. This path isn't easy. It was never supposed to be, but it is worth it. Every hard rep, every early morning, every lonely night. Because when you win the war within, there's nothing outside of you that can stop you. The world can't break what it didn't build. And what you're building is something the world has never seen before, because it's being built from the inside out. Keep going. Let the resistance come. You've already made your decision. You're not here for comfort. You're here for conquest. There's a reason most people never change. It's not because they lack ambition. It's not because they don't want more. It's because they keep choosing what feels good now over what builds greatness later. They chase quick comfort, easy pleasure, temporary relief, and they trade away their future piece by piece without even realizing it. This is the trap, the slow death of potential. Not some dramatic collapse, but a quiet drift. One skipped habit at a time, one excuse at a time, one I'll start tomorrow at a time. Until years pass, and all that's left are what ifs and could haves. That is the true cost of undisciplined living, regret. And regret is heavier than any burden discipline ever asks you to carry. Comfort convinces you it's harmless, that you can take shortcuts and still get there, that you can avoid the hard parts and still grow strong. But deep down, you know that's not true, because every time you choose comfort, you feel a little weaker, a little more lost, a little more disconnected from the person you were meant to become. You weren't made to live soft. You weren't made to coast. You were made to rise, to push, to strive, not out of punishment, but because the process is what makes you powerful. The pressure is what makes you unbreakable. And every time you run from it, you run from your own strength. Discipline is not about suffering. It's about becoming. It's about shedding the lies you've told yourself. It's about breaking the cycle of quitting when things get hard, because quitting always feels good in the moment, but it always costs more in the end. And that's the decision you face every day: comfort or character, escape or excellence, average or extraordinary. The life you want isn't built by what you do occasionally. It's built by what you do consistently. And consistency only happens when you stop waiting for easy and start preparing for war. Every day, every hour, every choice. You can't live on autopilot and expect greatness. You can't keep doing what's familiar and expect transformation. You have to choose discomfort. You have to seek resistance. Because only when you put pressure on yourself can you find out what you're really made of. Pressure doesn't break you. It reveals you. And if you're afraid of failing, good. That means you care. But don't let fear trick you into staying still. Movement destroys fear. Discipline turns fear into fuel. Every time you move forward when you're scared, you shrink the size of the thing that's holding you back. And eventually, the fear gives up before you do. But you have to show it you're serious. You have to prove through your actions that this time is different. No more starting and stopping. No more promising and pausing. Just relentless, consistent, disciplined action, day by day, step by step, until the results are undeniable. Because that's what discipline gives you. Proof, real, visible, undeniable proof that your effort matters, that your time means something, that you're not wasting your life waiting to feel ready. You're building something real, and no one can take that from you. You weren't born to be a spectator. You weren't born to live on the sidelines watching others win. You were born to compete, to fight, to overcome. And that fire inside you, that quiet knowing that you were made for more, that's not a fantasy. That's your truth trying to break through. But it only breaks through if you make space for it. If you stop filling your life with noise and comfort and distraction. If you start showing up with the focus and discipline your future demands. Because your future isn't guaranteed. Every day you waste is a day you never get back. And one day, you'll wish you had started sooner. One day, you'll wish you had fought harder. Don't let that day come. Don't let regret write your story. Choose discipline while you still have time. Choose sacrifice while the reward is still within reach. Choose pain now, so you don't have to live with pain forever. This is the truth no one wants to hear. You will suffer either way. The difference is why. Discipline is suffering with purpose. Regret is suffering with none. One builds you, the other buries you. One brings pride, the other brings pain. You get to choose which one you carry. And the best part? Once you choose discipline, life starts opening. You begin to move with confidence because you've trained in discomfort. You start walking into challenges with power because you've already beaten the hardest enemy, yourself. You don't need more time. You don't need a better plan. You need to stop negotiating with weakness and start honoring the life that's waiting for you. It's not far away. It's on the other side of your next discipline choice. It's on the other side of discomfort, fatigue, boredom, fear. And when you push through all of that, what's left is freedom. Not freedom from effort, but freedom from doubt, from regret, from weakness. And when you taste that kind of freedom, nothing else will ever be enough again. So keep going. Keep choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Keep proving to yourself that the life you want is earned through sacrifice, through effort, through relentless, uncompromising discipline. There's a reason why few people ever taste true freedom. It demands the very thing they spend their lives avoiding, self-mastery. Most chase freedom by trying to escape structure. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. They confuse lack of discipline with liberty. But that kind of freedom is a lie. It leads to chaos, not fulfillment. It creates comfort, not confidence. And it quietly traps you in a life of weakness disguised as ease. Real freedom isn't the absence of rules. It's the presence of control. Control over your habits, control over your reactions, control over your time, your focus, your direction. That's what discipline gives you. That's what builds true power. Because when you're disciplined, nothing owns you. Not your urges, not your fears, not your past. You lead, you decide, you command. You start living on your own terms, not because it's easy, but because you earned the strength to. You're no longer a slave to emotion, to laziness, to distraction. And that's when you realize discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. It protects your future from the damage of your impulses. It protects your mind from chaos. It protects your purpose from erosion. You cannot build a strong life on a weak foundation. You cannot reach high places if your habits are dragging you low. You want clarity? Start with commitment. You want peace? Build structure. You want growth? Get uncomfortable. You cannot bypass these things and still become your best self. And don't mistake movement for mastery. Plenty of people stay busy and never move forward. They dabble. They dabble with goals, with routines, with discipline, and then wonder why nothing sticks. But dabbling doesn't change your life. Commitment does. Relentless consistency does. The kind that keeps going when the feeling is gone. The kind that treats discipline as non-negotiable, no matter what. Because every time you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You remind yourself who you are, someone who doesn't quit. Someone who shows up. Someone who's building a life most won't have the courage to chase. You walk differently when you know that. You think differently. You stop waiting for permission, for praise, for proof. You become the proof. You don't need to shout about your discipline. It shows in the way you carry yourself, in your habits, in your mindset, in your progress. Real discipline is quiet, consistent, undeniable. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands respect. And when others crumble under pressure, you hold firm because you've trained for it. You've built resilience one rep at a time, one decision at a time. And now pressure doesn't scare you, it sharpens you. That's the level most never reach. Not because they're incapable, but because they're unwilling to do what's required when it's uncomfortable, when it's unglamorous, when it's lonely. But that's exactly where greatness is built. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. In the uncelebrated hours. In the disciplined days when no one is watching and the only one holding you accountable is you. That's what makes discipline sacred. It's not just what you do, it's who you're becoming. It's the quiet transformation that happens when you honor your word day after day without excuse. It's the power you earn when you take full responsibility for your life and stop outsourcing your future to your moods. And if you ever feel tired of the process, good. That means you're in it. That means you're not chasing shortcuts. You're doing the deep work. The kind that doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment, but leaves you with something far greater: integrity, self-respect, pride that isn't loud but runs deep. Because there will be days when you won't see the results, when it'll feel like nothing is working, when you'll question if the effort is even worth it. And that's when you have to remember the process is still doing its work. Every act of discipline is a deposit in your health, your craft, your mindset, your future, and eventually the balance rises. The returns compound, and everything you've worked for begins to show. But only if you keep showing up. You don't rise by chance. You rise by choice. And every choice you make is either building your discipline or breaking it. There is no neutral. Every day, you're either reinforcing who you want to become or who you used to be. So ask yourself, are your habits pulling you forward or holding you back?